Hey, it's Derek Washington. This is Talking While Black. Hello, Vegas. Hello, black people. Hello, y'all, everyone. I was going to say white people, but that's racist. So hey, how y'all doing today? I want to, thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm so excited because today it's Legends Day. Those who are going to be legends, those who are legends, and those who are legendary, as the girls say. So I'm really excited. But before we get started, I want to talk about the community and Dusty. Dusty is when someone just ain't worth your time. So I'm going to start off with Pam Goins. Folks, it's like this. I went to an event, I guess there was a debate recently, and Pam Goins didn't even bother to show up, but she's running for North Las Vegas mayor, and you know what? That's not how we run things. If you can't show up for the community, don't show up at all. But she shows up for all sorts of Republican events, and all her money comes from Republicans. Just think about that when you're in the voting booth. Cause I don't play with dusty people. So, I just want to dip her in some Nivea and keep moving. So, today on our show, we have someone who is a soon-to-be legend. He is running for Assembly District 13. His name is Will Rucker. Good morning, Will Rucker.
Good morning.
You know, you got one of those names, Will Rucker.
That's right, yeah.
We also have someone who is currently a legend. You know, by the way, this person is the reason I'm fat. And I was losing weight, and this person keeps her husband on rabbit food. And so the other day, her husband was like, help me. So I saved him. He was like in a basement situation, you know? And so I took him to Southern Soul Food Express, and he ate like they just released him from the basement. Like, you know how they find those people like ever so often, and they've been down there for like 22 years? That was her husband.
I'm just trying to keep him from having high blood pressure and a heart attack. So, because it runs rampant in our community, bad health. So, and it's not all DNA, it's not all genetics. Some of it's just because we enjoy a lot of things fried and smothered and covered in things.
So I got him fried pork chops and smothered chicken, some banana pudding. Everybody, a current legend, Erica Washington of Make It Work. Erica,
Good morning, Derek Washington.
Good morning.
We are not related.
We are not related. But if you want to check out our podcast, it's called Play Cousins on Spotify.
It is there.
It is there. And lastly, we have as the girls say on the ballroom floor, we have a legendary person. Legendary. Everybody, give it up for Miss Ruby Duncan. Miss Ruby.
Good morning, Derek.
Good morning. So, Miss Ruby, see, I got a surprise for you. I got Erica here.
Hello, Erica.
Good morning, Miss Ruby. How are you?
I'm great this morning.
Miss Ruby is both Erica and my fairy godmother. But Miss Ruby,
yes?
I need to ask you a question.
Yes.
You like me better, right?
I love both of you.
I bring her groceries, and I will bring her some pickled pig feet, so I think she likes me better.
Oh, she aced me with the pickled pig feet. That ain't right. So, Miss Ruby, we are here today. Will Rucker is here as well. Will Rucker is running in Assembly 13, which is out there. Well, where's that at? Tell us about that.
So it's the northwest part of the valley, a little bit of Centennial Hills, a little bit of Aliante in North Las Vegas, a little bit of Sky Canyon. So if you're by the DMV or by the big Smith's Plaza, those are kind of the two big boundaries.
That's
there.
like the bougie black place.
It's the nature, enjoy life place.
Okay.
Yeah, you are far from everything.
That's really out there. So Miss Ruby, what I wanted to talk to you about is, can you just, and Erica takes a long time. She talks forever, so we got to keep our answers real short, because Erica hogs the conversation. So, so Miss Ruby, tell me what you think is the most important thing this election season as far as what we should be doing. Tell us about voting and why it's important.
The important thing of our lives is a group of blacks, browns, and co-whites is to vote. If you want a home and you don't want to pay a higher price, you make sure that you vote to bring down the prices. So now, I understand that most families want to vote, and some are kind of hesitant to vote. But let me tell you, if you don't vote this season, matter of fact, you better vote by the 8th of this month. No, next month. I'm sorry. We're still in October.
Yeah, we still got one more day.
Okay. Because there's a need for employment, and we definitely want to make sure that we get better wages. We want to make sure that senior citizens do not lose their health care, Medicare, or their Social Security. Women and children, is at least poor women and children, and working poor women and children, has a duty. That mother have a duty to vote to take care of her child or children, because if she don't vote, the Republican will take it away from her.
That's so true, Miss Ruby.
And they want to cut out senior citizens from getting Social Security.
Yeah.
What are we waiting on?
Yeah. You know, Miss Ruby, that's so true. They've made it clear that they're going to cut everything that works for people, like you said, black, brown, poor whites. They've said they're going to do this. So it's not just we're like, sounding an alarm that's not, that then there's no fire. The fire is fully burning. Erica, can you tell people real quick what Make It Work does? And so y'all know, I don't mess with a lot of 501c3s. Make It Work is the preeminent, I think, community organization. They actually do stuff. And Erica, she used to be a cub reporter for the Sentinel back in the day. And so now she is head of Make It Work and one of the most important black women in this state and country. So Erica, tell us about Make It Work.
That's a whole lot. Make It Work Nevada. We are, Make It Work Nevada is actually a 501c4, but we do have a C3. Our C3 is Make It Work Nevada Education Fund. And what that is we are a state-based, organization that, is policy driven. So we organize alongside and with black women around reproductive justice issues. And we consider everything a reproductive justice issue, because whether it's affordable child care, equal pay, paid family leave, whether it's making sure we have street lights and grocery stores that have fresh food, all of these things are reproductive justice issues, because if you don't have what you need, you can't raise a family that you want if you choose to raise a family. So having doctors that are culturally competent, having things that are in your neighborhood, not having to travel all the way to the other side of town because that's where, the good stuff is or what have you. You want to make sure that no matter what zip code you live in, you have access to the resources that you need in order to thrive and not just survive. And so that's what we've been doing. And so we've worked on policy both at the state level and the federal level. That includes a Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act, which is in Congress right now, that we are pushing, some of our senators also to make sure that they're calling a vote for this, because we need to make sure that pregnant women and people who are working, that they have access to breaks when they need them, because sometimes they don't get the breaks. Some stuff that feels just very kind of like duh, like, okay, well, you need to maybe sit down in your job, or you need light duty or what have you. A lot of times you don't necessarily get unless you fight for it. You shouldn't have to fight for all these things, mind you, but that seems to be the way it is. And I agree with Ms. Ruby. As a parent, as a mother, a part of my job, besides just making sure that you're fed and that you have the things that you need and that you are able to, go to school and go to college and all those things, I have to vote in order to make sure. I can't just go to work and try to pay for everything, because there are too many hurdles set up in this world to keep us from having the things that we need. And a part of that, breaking that system is voting, but not just voting, but holding people accountable, because we have plenty of folks who run for office, who say they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then they don't do X, Y, and Z, whomever that is. And so we have to say, hey, say, remember when you said you wanted my vote and you said you were going to do this? Well, now I need you to make sure that you do it. And I need you to make sure you do this as well, because this is what's going on, in our neighborhoods. And sometimes people lose touch with that. So actually, I'd like to ask Will a question.
Go ahead.
If possible.
Yeah.
I want to know how you're going to make sure, in the assembly, and I'm going to say this first, that, as someone who's run this nonprofit organization and as a C4, we lobby as well on the C3 and the C4 side, but we lobby at the state legislature. Our state legislature is only every 2 years, which to me is crazy. We need to have a full-time, legislative body in order to be able to get things done. But because it's only every 2 years, it's really hard to sometimes really get things through and really affect the people.
We're not just like a village of 12 people anymore.
Exactly. We're a very large state with, millions of people. And so, and then the legislature, they don't get a full staff. They don't get a full-time staff year-round to be able to handle all of the things that need to be handled. So how do you see yourself being an assemblyman in the state of Nevada with these, what I call handicaps that the state has placed on us to be able to serve the people that you want to serve?
Let's see, how are you going to get anything done in 6 months?
Yeah, less than 6 months every other year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I want to say thank you for sharing the background on your organization. I love that you take a 360 approach because everything is interrelated. And thank you for just already putting it on the table, one of the big challenges with getting anything done legislatively. Here's the thing, right? There are amazing people in our state legislature. Anyone that goes through this process to run for office and keeps half of their sanity should be absolutely honored and applauded. And if you can keep a modicum of character through the process, that's worthy of a crown. Because the process itself is insanely corrupt. There's the undue influence of finances, money, money talks, and so you are beholden to those that pay the bills. You also have to prioritize. So what is the one thing that I can actually accomplish? What is the one thing that I can actually do? And what do I have to trade, beg, or barter for in order to do that one thing? So it's not as simple as the desire or even that people promise to do certain things and then just simply don't do them. It's more of, hey, we have a structure that is prohibitive.
I'm going to stop you right there. Okay, because I don't care. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have no boundaries or rules that don't matter to me. So you've got the structure. What are you going to do to break through the structure? I mean, I know you can't, like Erica was saying, it's only a few weeks, basically. And then they always extend it because they have to go into something, I don't know, whatever. But the point is, what are you going to do differently than get up there and go along to get along? I guess is the point.
Yeah, so here's how that part works. You absolutely do have to go along to get along. A little bit of something is better than all of nothing. And so you have to prioritize your battles. The thing that I'm doing to make the difference is I'm actually running. In my district, no one even ran for the seat in almost a decade. There's the district adjacent to mine, which I used to be a member of until they redraw the lines, where there's no Democrat even running. So there's no Democrat on the ballot.
Wow.
So number one, what I am personally doing is working to personally recruit folks for those empty seats. Now, admittedly, that means that the Assembly Caucus is not going to provide any support for a lot of folks. That's okay too, because it's a structure. And I'm here to disrupt the status quo. Okay. So one of the things that I want to do, if I had a magic wand and could get anything passed, it would be to move us to annual sessions. To have full time is a bit much to ask right away, and I understand that.
It's not though. It's not. They do it in other
I don't
states.
disagree.
It's not like it's unheard of across the country. We're a full-time state. We're a 24-hour city.
I've lived in 3 different states in the country. I had never heard of such a thing. Yeah. Like, not since the Wild Wild West days. Hold on a second. Miss Ruby, you there? Oh, okay.
Look, she said I was done. I said go vote, now go vote. Dang it, I got other stuff to do.
So here, let me share this though.
When you're a legend.
our Constitution dictates how we do things. So there are certain things that we are just unable to do because of the foundations of the way things are structured. So we have to work within those confines. But what I am doing is I am running. I'm putting myself out there saying, hey, here's a young, progressive candidate that's running to actually make real change. So what has to happen is, to go back to Ms. Ruby, you gotta vote, number one. You got to get enough of us in there that can actually make a difference. What we really need is a supermajority in both bodies. That's what we need, plus a Democratic governor. So you have to get the people in place in order to make the change. Then you also have to ensure that they have the necessary finances to adequately compete. And you're talking about the year-round issue. Most of us are still working. There are a lot of folks that are retired or, independently wealthy, but the folks that most people listening would know, we either still work or, are of modest means. So you got to support us. The other thing that you got to do is understand just because you don't see our face doesn't mean you don't see our works. And so to expect us to show up at every barbecue, every birthday party, every christening is asking.
I don't care if you show up to everything, but if your face is on a flyer, Pam Goins, you need to show up to the debate. So I want to ask you a couple of things, both of you, where you stand on a few things. And this is that part, like if you have to demur, I don't care. Question 3. Question 3 is ranked choice voting. And basically what it says is you get to pick your first, second, and third choices, I believe.
Up to 5.
Okay, up to 5. And you put that on your ballot. And basically, if your choice doesn't win, their votes go somewhere else. I'm going to say it's a little complicated. I don't really understand it. But I do know that what I like about it is that it gives more people a chance to get elected, and it also gives you more choices than just the one Democrat and the one Republican. So I think if you're a libertarian or an independent, which, means Republican light. But anyway, I think that personally, I'm for it. Erica?
Yeah, I don't think it's complicated at all, actually.
Can you explain it better than me?
No, I don't. Well, probably, but basically what it is what you said. It's ranked choice. It's like, I like this person the most, and if not this person, then this person, so because it's not always cut and dry, like this is the only person that I want to vote for. This person might be okay. And what I am assuming, and I'm still getting clarity on, is that doesn't matter what party they represent. So it could be a Republican, it could be a whomever.
So is it an open primary?
Yes, it would be open primary, so you don't have to worry about also what you identify as on your voter registration. If you are a Democrat, independent, Republican, what have you, because I think it also could help get rid of some of the really dangerous
right, because people have to run to the middle where most people are.
Yeah, you can't, I think personally it would get rid of, the really far right folks who are trying to burn everything down, because I don't think all Republicans are bad. I don't think all, independents are bad. And I don't think all Democrats are great. Right. I think that there are people who can do the job well, and whoever can do the job well is who I want. And so being able to rank choice vote, and I don't think it's complicated, because caucuses are complicated.
Caucuses are so complicated.
They're complicated, and they take up all of your time.
Yeah, and if you're not, like he was saying, if you're not independently wealthy,
or you just have a job.
Right.
You don't have to be independently wealthy. You just have to have somewhere to be and not stand around on one side of a room versus the other side of the room. And, and then someone's trying to convince you to do something.
Intimidate you.
Whichever. That's silly to me. And I hadn't been a part of caucuses until I moved to Nevada over 15 years ago.
Another thing that I'd never heard of before.
So I think that's more complicated. And so I think having an open space where people can just look at everybody on their merits and research everybody and say, okay, well, this person is for these things that are really important to me in my community, and so is this person. I think I might, lean more towards this person over that person. So you're first and you're second, and then go on down from there. And it's may the best person win.
Yeah, I'm a Democrat, so I'm a hardcore, and I still do see the good in it.
Don't get me wrong. I don't not see good in Democrats. I don't not see good.
No, but not every Democrat is a good Democrat.
No.
Pam Goins. So Will, I think Eric explained that real quick, and I do want to get onto some other stuff. Right now, we're at a really ugly period in politics, and you live in an area that has a real interesting sort of mix of people. Like I call it the bougie blacks. They're out there. And you also got the white folks who've been there forever with their horses and everything. And you sort of have to appeal to all of it. I personally like it out there. I've never had any sort of bad experience. Is your district like where Gilcrease Orchard is and all that?
Yeah, we're real close.
Okay, if y'all don't know about Gilcrease, okay, let me tell you about Gilcrease. You gotta go to Gilcrease. It's so cool.
I got your pumpkin from there.
Did you?
No, I didn't get a pumpkin, but I'm just saying people go get pumpkins.
I've never seen a pumpkin at your house.
Well, sure, whatever. there was a fake one once. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Because Eric is not the carving pumpkin type.
I've done it when my children were younger. I have 2 in college and 1 in high school. They don't really do that anymore.
By the way, that stir fry was really good. It's like healthy.
Get back on track.
Oh yeah, all right. It was good though. It's a scary time, but your district has some of those scary people. But I think the majority, Gilcrease Orchard. So the point is,
focus, Derek.
They have the best. You go out there, you like pick stuff, and then they have really good apple juice.
All right, so Derek, here's the deal, right? With ranked choice voting, what it does is it allows people to pick the person that they actually want to vote for, and then also they can choose going forward. So, for example, when I voted in the last presidential election, I chose to vote at Pearson because I wanted to listen to what people were saying. Most people at Pearson voted for Joe Biden. And most of them also had a person they preferred above Joe Biden, but they could only pick one. So they chose the one that they think could win. Open primaries allows anyone, whether you're nonpartisan, 600,000 plus nonpartisans in our state do not participate in the primary. As far as legislative candidates, they can pick people like the sheriff. So our current sheriff-elect, Kevin McMahill, was basically chosen by about 20% of the population. If you open up the primaries, you have more people participating, picking our judges. You have Courtney Ketter, shout out to him. He'll be our first black
Courtney
in North Las Vegas in his district, so that's amazing. But you'll have more people like him getting through because more of us will be able to vote. In my district, we are majority nonpartisan. And, I am a Democrat because when I look at the 2 options, the Democrat is the party I resonate with. And I don't agree with everything. The Democratic Party is against question 3.
Right.
I am for 3.
Well, that, I'm going to say on that, that's because the money people are against question 3, the consultocracy. But I do, I made it up. So, no boundaries, no rules. So, you're running at a really ugly time. Like, if you had run, say, a couple of seasons ago, it'd be easy to be like, yeah, young black man, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But as we just saw with the attack on Speaker Pelosi's husband and all the hate speech and Twitter just, unleashed the N-word like nobody's business, why are you running now?
There's no better time than now. My motto has always been be the change. And so I have a podcast called Compassionate Las Vegas, the podcast. You can check it out at compassion.vegas. We actually talk about ranked choice voting on it.
Okay.
And the thing that makes it so polarized right now is that people are afraid and angry. And once that emotion is heightened and you stoke fear, then people's rational brain just goes offline. Their compassion goes offline. And so the reason that now is the perfect time to run is to help change that narrative, to help change the conversation. And I can tell you, I've knocked probably 7,000 doors at this point. Independent, nonpartisan, libertarian, Green Party, Republican, and Democrat. And with the exception of one individual, every interaction has at least been pleasant. So when you put a face with the party, it changes the dynamic.
I drive Uber, and so occasionally people will want to have a political conversation. And like you said, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 people, every single person has said it's been nice to have a discussion as opposed to a fight. And I think that's super duper important. Because I don't think people hate each other. I don't think we're bad people. Erica, I wanted to talk to you about something. You and some other very strong women basically have been advocating for, and I'm going to say it wrong, the doula, like, what's that thing?
It's a doula.
Oh, okay, got it right. You and other women have basically brought that and even taught a few males about it. So, I'm wondering, can you just explain what that is? Because, gentlemen, we need to okay, look, I'm a gay black man, so I'm probably not going to be having any kids anytime soon. However, gentlemen, we need to be involved in women's issues more, not deciding for them, but supporting them and understanding and being allies and listening to them. So, Erica, please explain what a doula is.
Sure. A doula is a birth worker. It is a non-medical birth worker. They are to be your support system. It's someone you can hire during your pregnancy. And actually, there are a lot of different types of doulas. There are birth doulas that we'll talk about, but there are also like death doulas, and there are other types that help people through transitioning through the end if you're like in hospice or what have you. But with a birth doula specifically, their job is to advocate for you, to be there, to be your support system, because you may have a spouse or a partner or what have you, but they may not be the right person to support you during labor and during your checkups and different things like that. And so we worked on the doula bill with Assemblywoman Sandra Summers Armstrong in the last legislative session, and it was a Medicaid expansion bill, and that bill specifically worked to have doulas be able to be reimbursed through Medicaid, so that Medicaid recipients are able to have a doula, because that is really the important part. Anybody can go and get a doula if you have the money to pay for it, but if you, it's
so this is leveling the playing field,
right? And it's also helped to alleviate the issues that we have when it comes to birth in Black women. We have the highest death rate across the country.
So when I found out about that, I'm like, in America, in this day and age, I didn't know that infant mortality was a thing.
Very much so.
Yeah, and then I found it's very much so a thing, and very much so with Black women. But you just said something, you know, our dear friend Laura Perkins, she just lost her mom last week, and, you know, she's a strong woman, but, you know, I think her family has been amazing. Her husband has been amazing. I've tried to do what I can do as her friend. But you just mentioned a death doula. Tell me more about that.
So I don't know a whole lot about it. I know someone who lives in, I think, Washington State now, and she became one after both her parents died right after each other. Mm-hmm. And so, it's somebody, again, that helps you through that transition, the person who's actually dying, but also the family. So when you're starting to, have to think about hospice and things like that, and, you know, how somebody wants to live out those final days, when they have maybe a terminal illness or what have you, they can have a death doula that will come in and make sure all those things are right, because it's hard for the person if it's your parent or what have you can't do all of those things.
She's had to grieve and plan.
Right. And then that's when they take over and they sort of, you know, you can lose a lot of money trying to plan a funeral.
Girl, that I did not know.
Yeah, things are expensive.
Coffins.
And if someone hasn't planned all that out ahead of time, then you're in your moment of grief, right? And then a lot of times people, I want the best of this and that, even though it may not be necessary to have, you know, a 24 karat gold casket, Aretha Franklin style, or what have you. You want 3, you know, costume changes
and
during
5 pairs of Louboutins.
Exactly. But you might want that, and that's okay too. But having someone who can just be that support system, who is not in it, and they're a little bit of an arm's length, they can help with those decisions, and they can help you guide. They're not making them for you, but they're making sure that you have what you need, so you're not
calm you down a little bit, like you said, because I mean,
just what you expect as someone is passing away. Yeah. Like, this is because it's not like a movie, right? You know, it's just not peaceful sometimes, and their eyes close and they're gone. Right. There could be some violent things happening there. Yeah,
so I think that's really vital. Well, you wanted to say something, but I also want to ask you a quick question before we go. So say what you gotta say, but I also want to ask you, on your first day, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to make a difference. And here's the deal. We can't sit this one out. We have to vote. The doula issue is a voting issue. It's a legislative issue. Everything is important. We've got to get out the vote. Every voice counts. Every vote will count. Please do not sit this one out and vote for every single candidate that you see on that ballot. Every single one. All the way down the ballot. It's so important. And I know they're giving us the signal because we're out of time.
Okay. You know, I used to, whenever there was when I didn't know something, like a judge, I would vote for the woman thinking that they were better. And no, it's not that way. The women usually are better. Let's just admit it. So are we out? Are we done? 30 seconds. Okay, next week is Shelley Berkeley, who's America's favorite congresswoman, and I'm Derek Washington. And remember, don't say nothing stupid this week, and don't be dusty.
Nice.
I'm going. All right, bye, y'all.